Hello everyone, Eric with OzoneTCG. Today we're talking about the number one improvement I think Konami can make regarding cards in the trading card game. Specifically, again, the English European cards for Yu-Gi-Oh! So currently, we have a bunch of different rarities. I think that's fine. I think overall, we are good on the amount of rarities we have in the game because not all rarities are made consistently in each product every year. Gold rares, for example, used to be way different. Premium gold and even gold series cards look way different than the current golds. Currently, there's kind of like a texture foil on gold rares, but I think something like this. So this is one of the new cards from Darkwing Blast. Darkwing Blast, the sneak peek is tomorrow at the time of recording. So Lady Labyrinth of the Silver Castle, again, was revealed as a Starlight rare. I think this looks fine. I'm not a huge fan of Starlight rares, but I think we're good on rarities. I think there is one thing that needs to improve with the game, though, and that is extended arts. The reason why I bring this up is because Rush Duel just released different variants of the Cyber Dragon cards. I think this is Cyber End Dragon. This shows that Konami is willing to make full arts for some product in Yu-Gi-Oh! This was just revealed, I think, last night. So again, Rush Duel card, but let's go ahead and zoom in on here. Look at this. This is full art. I think this is foil. I'm not exactly sure. It looks like there's going to be some kind of foiling based on these little patterns up here. Kind of shattered glass foiling. Most likely, I think these kind of cards have that in Rush Duel. I'm not super familiar with the rarity system. But just look at this. This is a full art card. This looks good. I'm not even a huge fan of the Cyber Dragon aesthetic, but this card looks really good. This is not the only one. I think this is Cyber Twin Dragon. This is also a featured card. This is full art, so it's breaking the boundaries. This rainbow border here. Honestly, something like this, I don't see how anyone could really think that this wouldn't be a welcome addition to the trading card game. But the fact that they're already doing this with Rush Duel may indicate that we may have some kind of full art Yu-Gi-Oh card in the future, and in the official card game and in the trading card game. Again, I don't know what this card is. I think this is a Rush Duel specific card here. I'm not exactly sure, but it looks really good. Rush Duel art has never failed to impress me, to say the least. Even though it's meant for younger kids overall, because it's a much simpler game, the rules are far more simpler than the OCG and TCG rules. The card art is absolutely incredible, and I think they were going for that with the art, just to make it look a little bit more like Pokemon, in that card text is simpler, it's easier to understand, and there are a lot of dragons, spellcasters, warriors, robots, all of that to kind of appeal to younger kids, especially in Japan, where that is, those are some of those popular kind of TV shows. If you've seen Kamen Rider or Super Sentai, Power Rangers over here in the West, that's kind of the aesthetic that I think a lot of Rush Duel cards give off. Another one is the new Cyber. So this is what the current Rush Duel cards look like, but they're making custom cards basically for like Cyber Dragon. So there's like a Cyber Griffin now, in addition to whatever this is. I don't know what this is, but it looks cool, right? Imagine just having something like this in TCG. Again, I think, and this is the Rush Duel version of Cyber Dragon, they've been updating art. So like Monster Born, Pot of Greed, all have reimagined art. They look fantastic. They don't look bad at all, of course. But I think they look better than the original in some regards, just beyond the nostalgia factor of the old art. But even something like this is just the original art of Cyber Dragon. But even this, I would rather have something like this with the redesigned card border than the current cards, honestly. I was kind of hoping they would maybe switch or integrate Rush Duel art or the card design itself into the trading card game. I don't think that's the case, but this is what I'm talking about. So just having the card art extend over, and with the release of Master Duel, because we have full arts of all of the characters you see pop up, Mirror Jade, Water Enchantress, I think Chunging, Sword Soul, all of those have full art animations. You guys will see that on screen right here. They all have full arts made, so generally speaking, artists are always going to make a full art of the card when they first are commissioned by Konami, or it's a Konami artist himself, and I think they only commission though, just because it tends to be cheaper. Those arts are always made with full art. You never just have an artist create just the card that's going to be just the art that's going to be inside a bounding box, such as a square on the card. It's always full art every single time. There are always consistently full arts of every card. Every single pendulum actually has an official render that kind of extends the card art below. I've shown that in a previous video. But basically, Konami has the capability to do this. I think ultimately the reason this is not done, at least the trading card game in the TCG over here, is that it costs more money. And that was one of the reasons why the old Ultimate Rares were discontinued beginning in, I believe, 2016 with the release of Breaker of Shadows, I think, was because it requires more effort, and that means it costs more. And Konami has a very bad history, unfortunately, of cutting any kind of smaller costs as much as possible. It would take more time to make these full arts at the printer. It is a more difficult process. Pokemon recently released a video, Poke Beach, in collaboration with Pokemon, released a never-before-seen video on the printing process. Now, the printing process they show happened around late 2017 with an old Sun and Moon Pokemon set, but the process is similar across all trading card games. Basically, we know how trading cards are basically printed every single time, the machines they use, approximately, ink and colors they use, again, approximately. It's really just some of the extra details that make each brand a little bit different, and that's usually how it is with most manufacturing techniques in the 21st century. However, Konami does not want to make these. Again, I don't know why they would rather not make them for the actual trading card game. My suspicion is that the Rush Duel series tends to sell a little bit better. That is what I'm understanding from this because of how many products they're making. Compare that to like Speed Duel in the US, where before, I think this year we've gotten maybe 1 or 2 Speed Duel products since its inception. It is not a very popular product, unfortunately, compared to Rush Duel. I think the idea is that Rush Duel has done very well in Japan. I don't have the exact numbers. We can always take a look at that in another video, but it seems like Rush Duel is doing very well in Japan, and that's the idea. They want to put more marketing effort into Rush Duel because it is selling so well, and honestly, I don't blame them. If I were an executive at Konami, that's exactly what I would do. So the only thing I would like to see, again, would be these full arts, because we could easily have something like this. This is a Giratina V-Star, one of the most popular cards in the Pokemon TCG currently. This is the secret rare version, so there is a, and again, this will create a little more confusion with set design later on, but that can always be solved. It's been solved with basically every other trading card game. There is a regular rare that every single, just like the base art for every single card, and then some cards have extended art. All V-Star cards in the Pokemon trading card game extend past the border like this. Sometimes it'll go past even more. Specifically for this one, though, they're all etched foils, so they all have their distinct printing process, kind of a press that goes on there. We can always go over kind of the process that's shown there in one of the Pokemon videos. It's basically the same for Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic as well, whenever they're etched foils. But there are usually 2 or 3 printings of the card. The base art, which is generally the ultra rare art, the secret rare art, which is, this is a secret rare because it's gold, sometimes it's rainbow, that's another secret rare as well. This is I would consider this a gold secret rare. I don't think that's the official name. I know in Pokemon the rainbow is the actual secret rare, but there are 3 versions of this. So again, the base, this gold, and then a rainbow version. We can always show that later, but just imagine being able to have different rarities like this that are actually full arts. Something like this, Aerodactyl V. Now this is a $15 card at, again, time of recording. The base ultra rare version of this is like 50 cents. It's not a playable card at all. It is really hard to get this card though. And that's, I think, the one thing that some players may not want to have in the game, may not want to have all arts in the game, that is, simply because some of these old arts may be expensive. At least the full art alternate arts. So we have alternate arts like Sky Striker, It's Kagari, Eldritch the Golden Lord, and they look fantastic as alternate arts, but they're not full arts. That's the difference. I think if they were to include full arts, they would probably end up making them much harder to get. Honestly, and it may be a hot take, I wouldn't mind it. I would trade having full arts for Starlights any day. I don't think Starlight's a great rarity. Again, I'm not a fan of it, but I think we should have these kind of full arts that actually extend through the card, past the card border, rather than more rarities in this case. Just take a look at this. So this is from the Lost Origin. This is the most recent trading card game set. This would be the equivalent of Power of the Elements in the Pokemon trading card game, and the next set, Silver Tempest, is the equivalent of Darkwing Blast for us. Just take a look at this. These alt arts are all fantastic, and a lot of these aren't even really playable cards. Orbeetle VMAX was kind of played. Enamorous V is an unplayable card in the game right now. Eternatus used to be good, it's not good now. Pikachu VMAX, just because it's Pikachu, but this card itself is not very good. Same with Pikachu V, anything like that. All of these alternate arts, we didn't even touch upon the gold and black rares. That's a whole nother issue too. Scorch was played at one point. Basically, all of these just look really good. There's really no other way to put it. These are great alternate arts, and a lot of them are extended arts, such as this Kabu. The card art extends past the border. Just imagine having these. Even if they were more expensive, honestly, I think just having the option to be able to have a full art card in the actual trading card game would look way better. Let me go ahead and show you guys. So, the Unfinity set in Magic released a couple weeks ago, and a lot of borderless reprints, which means there's no like black edge around everything. The really cool thing is that there are these galaxies foils. So I'll just show you guys one of these. These are really cool. So these are all borderless full art lands. And this has the galaxy foil you guys can see here. It looks like an old Pokemon card. But basically, if we had something like this in the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG, I think it would add a lot of value to the trading card game, as is, more so than some of the artificial demand generated by Starlight Rares. Because Starlight Rares, some people like them, some people don't like them. I don't really think that the rarity, the foiling itself, is the issue. I think it's the actual card, not having those full arts. Just take a look at this, Godless Shrine. I don't even know if this is a good card. I know basically nothing about Magic. Seems like it's fine since it's a dual land, I think that's what it's called. But just look at this. Imagine having something like this, even if the text were to go over. People make these all the time on sites like DeviantArt, but at best we are stuck with something like this. Again, honestly, because Rush Duel is already doing this, I don't see a reason to do it. Honestly, I think the cost would be worth it. I don't know if it would drive sales more, but even for like classic arts, I would gladly buy like a Blue Eyes White Dragon that has an extended art, like where I would gladly pay for an extended art like that. Let me know what you guys think about this. I'm really hoping they introduce this with more Rush Duel sets, and I'm hoping eventually we'll get them in the TCG. I think OCG will get them first, as usual, but eventually maybe we'll see a full art in TCG. This is Eric with OzoneTCG, and of course, this is my #1 suggestion for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game.